Everyone's saying that this VR headset is the future of sim racing. The quality of the graphics is insane. I'm getting goosebumps all over here. Like, I'm getting goosebumps all over. The promised land of 4K 90Hz sim racing, where you're in virtual reality, it's all 3D, it's all incredible. Is it true? There's one problem, which I'm going to let you know about in this video. In fact, I'm just going to let you know about it right now at the beginning. I'm not going to waste your time. It's performance, actually, and we'll get into it. So this is a Pimax Crystal Super. It's just come out. It's a top-of-the-range headset from Pimax. This is a review unit from Pimax. I've been using it a couple of days before making this video, and I've previously been using headsets like the Pimax Crystal Lite, which is this headset here. That is much cheaper, actually, than the Pimax Crystal Super. So this is the QLED version. Interestingly, these headsets have swappable optical engines, so you can actually swap out. There will be an OLED version in the future. This is the QLED version, and you can tell it's a Pimax headset because it's got the distinctive V shape, which I really like. I've been using it on a RTX 4090 graphics card, the beastly Alienware here, and that's where things get super interesting in performance. But firstly, if you're really interested in this, I owe it to you to let you know honestly what the differences are. So I've got a Quest 3 here as well that I use. You can see the Quest 3, the little diddly headset, and I've got the Pimax Crystal behind me there, and I've got a Crystal Lite here. So let's talk about the Crystal Lite versus Crystal Super. Interestingly, and this is kind of weird, the Crystal Super is smaller and kind of dinkier than the Crystal Lite, which is kind of crazy. Put them side by side. The Crystal Super is more rounded. The faceplate feels more kind of like shrunken in. The weight is very, very, very similar. It's much lighter than the Crystal, than the Pimax Crystal, the regular one. So if you're looking for a light headset, it's now not an obvious choice between the Crystal Lite or the Crystal Super. They're both really light. Now, where things get different is the resolution. So per eye, the Crystal Super has 3,840 pixels per eye, which is insane. That is a decent amount more than the Pimax Crystal Lite. But I want to be clear, the Pimax Crystal Lite is still a very, very sharp headset. Like, when I tried on this headset for the first time and I sat in Le Mans Ultimate, I was like, whoa, this is incredible. The very subtle glare, the world scale feeling absolutely one-to-ones, cars feeling big like they would in real life, the smoke in the distance, it was absolutely unreal. However, the Pimax Crystal Lite also gave me the same feeling when I tried it the first time. The Pimax Crystal Lite does go up to 120 Hz, by the way, whereas the Crystal Super only goes up to 90. But we know that 4K 90 would really be the promised land for VR sim racing. So I tried to run this at essentially maximum settings in Le Mans Ultimate at 90 Hz, and I was able to get the graphics. The graphics are there for me. There is no screen door effect. It is just, if that's your first time trying on a VR headset and you have the experience I had, it's going to blow your mind, like 100%. The graphics are going to blow your mind. It is, you're not pixel peeping anymore. You're not seeing, in my instance anyway, like chromatic aberration. You don't even think that you're in a VR headset per se. You're just in this portal to another world. So that is incredible. However, the frame rate when I started couldn't hold up. So I was running at a much choppier frame rate than I'd want. So there was no way I could hold 90 Hertz there in Le Mans Ultimate with everything whacked on. So we're talking like ultra settings at like a 4K or like a super ultra wide resolution. The other interesting thing on resolution is that you get quite a bit more field of view, I feel, with the Crystal Super than any other headset I've tried. So I remember the PSVR 1, for example, back in the day when I was streaming on YouTube. It's like you're looking in kind of like binoculars like that, or a very small thing, and then there's black around it. You very quickly forget about any kind of lack of field of view in the Crystal Super. The horizontal field of view is very, very, very impressive, and noticeably better than the Pimax Crystal Lite. Like, they've made a big step up when it comes to that horizontal field of view, and that's great for sim racing. You don't feel cramped in. You don't feel like you're sort of maybe in a racing helmet. You feel like you're more just sat in a racing cockpit. So it's still not like you can see everything like you're, in third person camera. You're still in the cockpit, but now I can see things in the periphery. And the other interesting of the field of view is that the clarity on the edges is very, very, very good. It's very good. This is probably the best headset for sim racing right now, notwithstanding these issues we're going to get onto. So it is a QLED panel, so it's not an OLED panel. It's not an OLED like my PSVR 2 headset. The blacks are not as good as the PSVR 2, but the colors are better than the Pimax Crystal Light. So the colors here are very, very, very vibrant, and the brightness is really good as well. I think that's going to be a big difference if people try this and then go back to a Pimax Crystal Light. The brightness here will be something you miss in the Pimax Crystal Light. So very, very, very good. The setup for me was super easy as well. Really easy to put on. Very comfortable. More comfortable than the Pimax Crystal and Crystal Light, because mainly of this kind of much nicer way they've got it attached here. And this kind of like memory foam or whatever it is just feels nicer. And we got this nice top strap as well. Now, Pimax, when they sent me this review unit, they did also send some accessories like a different top strap and some demasked nicer headphones. I haven't put them on yet. I wanted to keep it stock because I wanted to do like the fully stock experience. Something that I don't think is working, or Pimax said, hang on, we need to work this out, is the automatic IPD. So this will automatically adjust for your IPD, your interpupillary distance. That's not a problem for me. It's never been a problem when that's not automatic, because you just know what it is, you set it, and you can always adjust it manually. Now, the tracking, absolutely no questions. You know, if you've been following the channel for a long time, I had big tracking issues on my PSVR 2, on PS5. Absolutely no tracking issues. I didn't even calibrate this headset. I just put it on and away I went. I didn't calibrate to kind of get the room or whatever. I just recentered it and it was all good. This is one of the massive selling points, I think, for this VR headset over some of the other PC VR headsets. In fact, it has the inside-out tracking and you don't need to faff around. Like, for me, that's incredible. The faff for me would absolutely kill it. Let's talk about the price. The price on this, and by the way, this is all changing literally as I speak because of tariffs. So there'll be a link in the description to these headsets. There'll be affiliate links. So if you buy any of them, I might get a small commission at no cost to you. But the latest pricing will be there, and any discounts as well. I think the latest pricing is about $1,800, but don't quote me on that. That is quite a lot more than the Pimax Crystal Light, which comes in well under $1,000. And it's very interesting because, and there's different ways to buy the Crystal Super. Like, you can do it on a subscription plan as well, which is interesting, but not that easy to understand. I think the Pimax Crystal Light, we really have two great options from Pimax now. Like, if this is too expensive, you are getting, and I'm going to give you a percentage here. Oh, you're getting probably 85% of the way with the Pimax Crystal or Crystal Light. That's what I would say. And what you get in the Super is just the ultimate tier. It's more comfortable. It feels just kind of, you know, nicer on your face, like the inertia and everything and the way it's balanced. It has higher specs with the resolution. It just seemed to run a little bit better as well. I don't know if the firmware's a bit better, but I was able just to turn it on and go. And when I started the Pimax Crystal, I do a lot more changing. Don't know why that is, but it just feels like it's more of a refined product. It looks a little bit more refined as well, but you're paying a massive premium for that. Like, it's really expensive, especially when you go consider Crystal Super, Pimax Crystal Light, and then you go down to the Quest 3. So I paid about £450 for my Quest 3, which is an absolute bargain, frankly. So you have different options here, but if you want the ultimate best, you've got this. The Crystal Super, this is getting confused with language, is so tantalizing because the performance is in here. And I went on to iRacing and I went on just one car in time trial. I bumped it down slightly to 72 hertz. I was running at 72 hertz and like, oh my goodness, it feels like an arcade. Like back in the day, you go to the arcade, they were just super powerful. It feels like that. Then I went into a race in iRacing. The frame rate dropped to like 42, 43, 44. I'm like, oh, okay, I really want this locked at 72. Then you can kind of lower some of the graphical settings. Your frame rate goes up, but then you're like, oh, it's not quite as clear as I know it can be. So you've got that promised land, which is that 4K, I'm going to call it basically, 90 hertz. This can do it. So this is, as far as I'm aware, really, basically the best VR sim racing headset you can get right now. Let me know in the comments if you disagree. I'm very interested to hear from you. So yeah, these are my honest first impressions of it. Obviously, a big thanks to Pimax sending over the review net. I'm going to go back also and look at the Crystal Light as well and kind of see how I feel about that in comparison. But in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I understand the different price points. So very interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments if you've been trying out this as well at X-Ways or whatnot. And I will see you next time.